first off, I'd like to say congratulations to all 32 and the 30 guys from high school that decided to sign today. I think it's really a compliment to those guys to take a chance on UNC Pembroke football and the institution university that we have here. And I really congratulate those guys for taking the step to have the courage to do that. As a staff, I mean, we put in a lot of hours, and really proud of our coaching staff for really just taking the process from the beginning and getting to know these guys and digging into them and really going through a thorough process of figuring out who they were, making sure that they know who we were, and then getting them on campus, going through film, all of that type of stuff, and then being able to lock them in. And, it ended up great. But I think offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, linebacker, running back, those 5 positions right there kind of came to the forefront, and we looked to fill some holes there, and we certainly did that by these guys coming.
Let's talk about a position you didn't mention, and this will involve going and looking at your current team. Special teams, you really didn't touch special teams at all, and that's the first in a long time. Talk about your special teams guys that you got coming back, because I'm sure people go, wait, there's no kickers or anybody on this, but talk about the guys you got coming back on special teams. You look pretty solid going in.
No, yeah, I think with our returning punter, Isaac Parks coming back, and our returning place kicker, Alex Alvarado, and then Sean Andrew is a guy that actually might have the most potential of them all and has a really big leg, and he was redshirted last year, and he'll have a great opportunity to get in the mix and compete this year as well. And so, long snapper Ryan Watkins has been very consistent for us in his first year, and so I feel great about all 4 of those guys. And we'll still be recruiting and looking for guys to just add to depth, but right now I think we've got a very solid kicking core there.
You're able to expand sort of your reach this year, and I imagine that NC Promise had a little bit to do with that, but 4 different states, these guys, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Mississippi with the 2 JUCO guys. How much of a luxury was that for you to be able to sort of cross state lines a little bit more and go after some of the guys that are out of state?
Absolutely. I think we were able to make our money go a lot further, and gave those guys opportunities, and it expanded our base. And so we were able to get a lot more guys into the mix that we were able to go after. Typically in December we try to identify the guys that we want to bring on campus. And from a year ago until this past year, we were able to increase offers to come to campus for official visits by 33%. And it adds to what we're able to look at and go after. And I think the signing class kind of shows for that. We were able to get some guys out of some of those areas.
Now, do you go into obviously the glaring thing about this class is the size of it? Do you go into a signing class going, hey, I want 30 guys, I want 35 guys, and is that sort of your target? Do you go, okay, have I filled my needs yet, and so on like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think when it comes down to it, you want to go after every great player that you see, and that's going to be a great fit for you. And that's what we try to do. And so through that process, some guys aren't great fits for us. We're not great fits for them. We find things out that just, kind of start to make the situation just a less appealing to one or the other sides. And, it just kind of works its way through the mix there. And, other schools are also in competition for these guys as well. And so it's one of those things where I want as many great players as we can get. And I think this year I did have a little bit of a mindset of thinking we wanted to get as many guys as possible. And we were more aggressive and made a few more offers to try to get the number a little bit higher. But our percentage of offering and hitting on guys was actually higher than it has been the last couple of years. And so I feel really good about that.
Now, in terms of size of classes go, this class obviously the biggest by 1 over the class signed in February 2010. That class included names like Luke Charles, Devontae Bush, Quentin Pate. Do you see that type of talent in this class? Sort of, not really asking you to compare here, but do you see the type of impact guys that the Luke Charles and the Quentin Pates and the Devontae Bush, do you see those type of guys in this class?
Yeah, those type of guys, I think we definitely hit on some of those guys. And we just finished talking as a staff, just with all the 30 guys that are coming in on as high school guys. There are about 10 of those guys that were some of our top-ranked film guys, just from our film evaluation, just from a talent, football playing production. Really, really good players. And so really excited about that. And so I think there's definite opportunity for those guys to be able to be big names in our program and in our future.
What sort of sticks out the most about this class? I know I just asked you to sort of reflect back on the 2010 class, but what sticks out the most to you about this class, if you had to sum it up in just a few words?
Well, I think those guys having the courage to take a chance on us. You know, we had a down year this past year. You know, you never know how recruiting's going to go after a season like that. But I think those guys caught the vision. They see what we're really doing here and what we're really about. They see the product that we have on campus and as a great institution here. And, you know, I think those guys being willing to take a chance on UNC Pembroke and our football program, I think that goes a long ways. And then I just think this is an extremely talented group, and it's one of the most talented groups that I've had a chance to be involved with in terms of a recruiting class. And so I'm really, really excited to see their impact on the field.
Yeah, you touched on this, that with the coming off a less than satisfactory season to your coaches. What was one of the more common sticking points with these kids to get them to say, yeah, I'm coming to UNCP next year? What was one of the main drawing points to get them to come here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a couple things, but you know, I think one of the things we do very, very well is we're very upfront with these guys. We're very authentic. We're very genuine with them because at the end of the day, we're not trying to create something that isn't going to be when they get here. And, you know, we want to make sure that they have all the bare bones information about who we are, how we do things, what our process looks like, so that they can make a decision based on that and knowing if it's going to be best for them or not for the next 4 or 5 years. And so I think that element of making sure that as a coaching staff, we recruit them the right way, we communicate to them the right way, we're upfront and honest, we're very thorough in the process, and we have a high standard of excellence. And I think the guys want to be a part of that. And I think they see that, they feel that, and they come to believe in that. And so I think that's something that's very attractive to them.
A majority, if not all of these guys, high academic standards as well. In looking at this class, you see probably at least 31 of the 32 have 3.2s or higher GPAs in high school. I mean, obviously that's important to you as a coaching staff, but sort of hit on that and talk about the high academic standards of this class as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because when I talk to these guys and we go down and really kind of nail down the offer opportunity and the scholarship and what it's going to look like for the future, you know, I tell them we're not only recruiting good football players. That's their ticket to kind of get them recognized. But at the end of the day, we want great students that have a vision for their future and are serious about being a student in the classroom. And also we want great people, you know, guys that have great character and are able to make good choices and be guys that can come in and we can feel comfortable with and have a dependability factor that we can count on them. And so, you know, those things weigh a lot into the mix too, not just only how good they are on the field.
Let's sort of break down the positions a little bit, starting from your bigger positions to your smaller positions. Obviously, offensive line was a key sticking point for you guys going into the recruiting season. You got 8 guys, including a junior college guy. Talk about offensive line and those guys that you got coming in.
Yeah, unbelievable, actually. I mean, it really exciting because, you know, we were young and we struggled and we were very thin at the O-line last year. And so we think we addressed some of those situations. And so I really think that there's probably a handful of guys here that could come in and potentially have the chance to compete right away. You never know that until they get here, but I mean, the potential for these guys to come in right away and have an impact, I think, is very high. You know, we were just looking at the O-line situation in terms of this class that we recruited, and it's the most depth and the most quality of depth that we've recruited in a long, long time. And so to be able to get 8 high school guys and then have a junior college guy come at the semester to address that, I mean, we're very thrilled and very excited. And, I just can't say enough about the high school kids that we were able to get in terms of the quality of what we were going up against.
6 defensive linemen. Obviously, you graduated some big names off the defensive line. Obviously, a need from you. Talk about your defensive linemen and what this crop will bring to you, what kind of characteristics. Obviously, some pretty big-bodied guys to come in and fill some holes as well.
Yeah, and I think, even relating to the O-line, I mean, we definitely had a standard that we were recruiting to, and we didn't stretch on any of these guys. I mean, these guys all have fits in our program. I think in terms of the defensive line goes, they're guys that will need to kind of develop into some positions, and there's some versatility there. But when it all shakes out, there's a lot of guys here in the 6 that we did sign that will have an opportunity to kind of spread out along the 4 guys up front and have great impact on what we're doing. And all the way from defensive end to defensive tackle, I think we're pretty spread out there. And just with the guys coming in, I think they'll have a great opportunity, and I'm really, really excited about the talent that's coming in.
Obviously, with your background, your favorite position, linebacker, you got some high tackle guys coming in. Yeah. So guys that seemingly are very aware and have a good football knowledge. Talk about your linebackers. I mean, you've had some great ones over the year, and it looks like you have a possibility with these new ones coming in.
Well, I think really 2 of these guys, when we rank our guys on film, 2 of the ones that we signed had some of the highest rankings out of the whole entire class. And so we're extremely thrilled about what they can bring to the table. And, in particular, I mean, we signed 3 guys from Mallard Creek, Keyshawn Martin, Cam Lowry, and Masanka Kanku. And those guys have an opportunity to come from a winning program and to bring a lot of what they learned there and then be able to showcase it here. And, I'm really, really excited what they're going to bring to the table.
Now, your tight ends, you got 3 of them in this class. Tight ends, generally, you're more tied to the offensive line in our offensive scheme. But talk about these guys, their blocking abilities, and if they have any pass-catching abilities as well when you choose to use them.
Yeah, I think the 3 guys that we signed, Thatcher Tillett, Fahim Diab, and Justin Crowder, they're all different in their own right. And Fahim is going to be a very athletic guy who can move very well. Thatcher Tillett's going to be a very physical guy that is going to be a good physical presence no matter where we kind of put him. And then I think Justin is a great mix of both of those. They've all 3 got to develop in their own ways, and we'll see how that transitions in their first year when they come in. But, really excited about all their futures, and I think they really up that position here in terms of contributing to the guys that we do have on the roster.
Let's move. The rest of the positions are 2 guys apiece. Let's talk about an important position on the field, the quarterback position. Josh Jones out of Wilmington Hoggard, and then Logan McFadden out of Rock Hill in high school in South Carolina. Guys with real good size for quarterbacks. Obviously, Josh Jones, real good playoff game, semifinal against Scotland High School right up the road. Passed for over 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. You got to be really happy with the programs that these guys are coming from and what they'll bring to the table.
No question. These 2 guys were our top 2 guys out of anybody that we evaluated, and we targeted both of them. We wanted both of them. We wanted to sign 2 guys, and we got the 2 that we wanted. And so can't say enough about Josh Jones and Logan McFadden. Josh is a guy that obviously is a local 910 guy that we've known about for a long time. Just brings a lot of great intangibles. The way that he really performed this season was fantastic. I mean, he really exceeded our expectations in terms of going into his senior year. year, and we're thrilled about him. And then Logan, a guy that we've been recruiting ever since the beginning and has been on campus multiple times, just brings a lot of great intangibles that you want at quarterback in terms of leadership and determination and doing the right things. And I just can't say enough about both of these guys and how excited we are for both their opportunities to make our quarterback group a lot better.
Sort of segueing into the guys that they throw to, wide receivers. Again, you got some guys with some good size coming in.
Yeah, Teddy Creasy and Trey Dixon, both very solid receivers that are going to be coming in. And, we signed a big class of receivers like a year ago. Didn't feel like we needed to stretch or, have to sign a bunch of guys at that position. Those two guys would be very solid contributors. Great size, great movements, very solid ball skills and catching ability. Very excited about both those guys.
And your running backs, a couple of good ones there as well.
Running backs, maybe we only signed 2 of them, but maybe the best quality position that we did sign. It's a close race, and different coaches on our staff will debate this, but these 2 guys coming in with McKinley Nelson and D'Angelo Blair Young, they're the 2 best guys that we had ranked at running back, and they're going to be able to run the ball for us, and they may have a role right away, and we're really excited to see what they can do.
And then the last position, super important position, especially in a defensive scheme, your secondary. You signed 2 defensive backs, guys that looks like they have really good speed and really good hands. Talk about the excitement level with your defensive backs coming in and how you think those guys will compete.
Yeah, I think we're in a very good place with our DBs right now. And so, again, kind of like wide receiver, we wanted to make sure that we signed the right ones. We took 2 with John Jones and Jace Allen. And so those guys, they're different. John's a little longer, Jace is a little shorter, quicker. But they both bring a ton of athleticism, very good in their transitions and their movements. Jace is a 3-sport athlete, does backflips all over the place and is extremely acrobatic. And, John came and worked out on campus and maybe had the best workout in terms of defensive back that we brought in. And so these 2 guys would be great fits for our system. They're going to add to the depth that we already have in place, and they should be very good for us for a long time.
Let's talk about, obviously this is a long, tiring process for you. How much rest do you guys get now? Mm-hmm. What's next for your program? And I know you guys have been working out in the weight room all semester, but how much rest are you guys going to get now, you and your coaching staff, and what's next for you guys?
Yeah, the word rest is a little taboo, but no, we will. I mean, I told our staff, we all did a fantastic job of just cross-recruiting all these guys. Everybody has a hand in it, and we all perform different roles, and I can't say enough about the effort and the time and the energy that went into it by our whole entire coaching staff. We're going to take this week and really try to get some balance back and come back on Monday and really try to start getting after our team. And I think, after you've been in a car for a long time and traveled a lot of miles and been in a lot of living rooms in a lot of high schools, you want to get back to coaching your team and being able to dig into the guys at your positions, and we're looking forward to doing that. And so we've got about 4.5 weeks left until spring break, and then after that we'll go into starting spring ball. And I think that'll be an exciting opportunity for our coaches to just get back on the field and coach our guys and dig into some football and being able to get out and practice and run around and give some high fives and that type of thing. So we're excited about getting back, being able to do that.
As far as relaxation goes, though, what does and coming off a 2-8 season, what does a class like this do to your psyche with your relaxation level as you move forward? Yeah,
I think there's some comfort in that, but of course when you go 2-8, there's not a whole lot of relaxation until whatever 2018 brings us. And so we've got to keep working, and we've got to make sure we keep our guard up and stay hungry. And I think that's something that our whole entire team needs to adopt, and we've done a good job of that so far. I think coaches, players, our whole entire program, we're not satisfied with what the last season looked like. And so we're going to make sure that every day we show up, we're going to work towards getting that better and making sure that we have a major impact on trying to change that around for this season coming up.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it, and congratulations on your signing.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Thanks, Trevor.